X-Star Firefly is now live, streaming Just Chatting. Filling beds and clearing my mind team. Just in time, Victory Garden.
I don't mean to alarm anybody,
You see, I've got completely
but I think
out of my mind.
we're being followed.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time.
And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away.
Thanks for the follow at graph_19.
Hey homie, I can share your stream.
Lex to Firefly come to us NEZHNACONACONY Yuxenquai.
Okay, everyone, I should be good. I got everything set up. It took me a little longer than I thought it was going to. Anyways, yeah. So let me double check one thing real fast because I think I'm good. So, is that integrated? I don't know which one this is. Don't know where I'm not streaming right now. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. We're good. Let's get on out there and get the stuff accomplished that we need to get accomplished. So we're gonna go work on the garden today. And we're got a lot to talk about and a lot to do up in the garden on this this lovely 24th day of March. So I think I can read chat everywhere, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you are unable, if you're on one of the sites that you're unable to view chat with, I'm sorry, but you can go. I said probably the three best places to go right now where I know I can read chat is you can go to my Rumble page, which is rumble.com/xDrFirefly. You could go to my Pilled page, it's pilled.net/xDrFirefly. You could go to my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/xDrFirefly, or you could go to dlive.tv/xDrFirefly. I know that those ones will work. I'm not sure which YouTube page this is going to. This is either going to my Doc Mavis Mavis Farmacy or my Doc Mavis Gaming. I am not sure which one is going, and I don't know which. So we're walking up to the garden. We are going to be working on putting some dirt in the garden, and we're going to be talking about life, clearing my mind, talking about stuff that needs to be talked about, and all the good stuff. And whatever you guys is mine. Well, after that, I'll probably be doing more of these I think it's fun philosophical things while we're also, moving our body, doing things. So let's talk about what we're doing today. So I have my right there and right there. Those are my garlic beds. I'm at some particular point, I'm going to move this arch because I don't need it here right now. This is the new bed that we are going to be building and filling up with everything. And there is the dirt over there that we are going to be moving. So let's spin the camera around. Hello to anybody that's new. My name's Doc, Justin, whatever you guys like to call me, I don't really care. I am a permaculture farmer, a regenerative farmer here in southern West Virginia. And let's get you guys up here. Can you guys see? No, we're going to move back here a little bit. But also not so much the boring part of, not so much just the like all up in my crap, but enough to be able to see what I'm doing, enjoy the scenery, and so we can also chit chat and talk. Also, I need to figure out that looks like, see, that turned off. Awesome. Okay. And we should be good. It looks like we're getting enough internet juices up here so that we should be good. I brought a power supply and a few other things just in case. So if I miss chat, I'm sorry. I'm trying to I'm going to try to make sure I don't miss chat. Actually, I'm trying to find a funner view of what I'm doing. More enjoyable. Actually, that's not bad. Can I zoom out one more? Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. So what's the main thing we're going to talk about today? Well, main thing we're going to talk about today is everybody's feeling so. I know all of you guys out there, everyone's feeling it. Maybe not everyone. I lecture people and say we shouldn't refer to things as everyone. So I should, practice what I'm preaching. Not everyone. Most people, let's say. Most people out there, most of us, we're feeling extra lost. We're feeling like life is not making sense. And I will let you know, it is absolutely not making sense. And it is done on purpose. What do I mean by that? Well, first off, regardless of what you want to call it, I call them the monster class. Some people call them the elite. Some people call them the ruler class. Some people say all of that is just crap and it's not true. There is nobody ruling us. And I say, well, at least you can blame the corporations or the elected officials or the people that are in power. So whatever you want to call them. There are bad people doing bad things out there. And those bad people doing bad things are actually directly affecting our moods. So there's plenty of science, well-documented science, that if there's lots of bad, stressful memories out there in the world, lots of stressful energy, it affects people negatively. You've probably heard the old phrase, misery loves company. That is kind of in the same vein as what I'm talking about. So why they're doing it? Actually, I don't think the why is that important. We can talk about the why and we can speculate, but the why isn't as important as the solution. And the solution is to try to find good people in your life, good high quality people, people that are not going to get caught up so much in the gossip, that aren't going to get caught up in the news cycle, that aren't going to get caught up in all of the craziness that's happening. Now, I'm not saying you need to be Pollyanna.
Visit x-firefly's coffee page at
that nothing is happening.
Streaming
it is
the Night
okay
Watch, primarily on Rumble.
Informed. And it is okay to, be aware, to be knowledgeable. But if you start noticing that that's all you talk about, if when you're out in a group of people, all you talk about is politics, or all you talk about is the war, or all you talk about is the Epstein files, then they're winning. They have controlled the conversation because there are so many interesting things to talk about. I love talking about gardening. I like talking about the positive aspects of AI. There's some cool things that it is actually going to be able to unlock because of how, it's a whole new thing. It's kind of like, the internet. It's a whole new way of looking things. There are positive things to talk about, in our everyday life. There are things our, kids are still doing, our parents are doing, our pets are doing. Stuff that, some people might call superficial. The thing is they're still fun, wonderful things to talk about. You might have just discovered a new way to meditate. Maybe your church is doing a fundraiser. Maybe there's a fun event going on in town. Those are examples of things that we used to talk about and we should get back to. There's I believe it's George Strait, I believe is who it is. I could be wrong with that. I do believe it's George Strait. Had this song that came out, a country song in the early 90s. So I listen to a variety of music, but thank you for the kicks over there for Lurk on Kick. So George Strait used to talk about, you had this song that three things you don't talk about is politics, religion, and her. So I absolutely guilty. I end up talking about politics and religion way more often than I should. Just because it seems to come up in a lot of the conversations that I have with people. That being said, I think there's lots of other fun things that we can talk about. And if we just remembered that and we saved the political talk, we saved the religious talk, we saved that kind of conversation till, special short-term intimate relationships that we have with folks, I think we would be, I know we would be happier. So I know there's a lot of Xers, there's a lot of millennials that we talk about how spectacular the 90s were. And we have Gen Z, fantasizing about living in the 90s. And I will say, my personal belief is it was one of the best times ever to grow up. I am glad that I was in my teens during most of the 90s. But I think that there's probably up until the 2000s, I would say a lot of generations probably enjoyed the time they lived in their teens. So I'm not saying it was the bestest of times. I'm just saying it was I view as a wonderful time window. That being said, I want to ask how many of you out there that say that would be great to live in that times, do you still practice that? Because things that we used to do in the 90s is have one-on-one conversations, go out and have bonfires, have coffee with friends, maybe hit up the bar. We would talk about superficial things. There's a lot of people that, joke around like, oh yeah, all people talk about is sports ball. And while it is a level of distraction, it is actually a very human thing to talk about. And I have changed my opinion over the course of years and think sports is probably a perfectly fine thing to talk about someone that is a fan with. I think it's a very healthy thing. Now, it's not healthy to be obsessed and be angry if your team wins, your team loses, or things of that sort, being angry with other people, that weren't actually in the game. And, that's not healthy, but, enjoying the company of others and cheering for a team and rooting with people or against people, having friendly rivalries. I think all of that is absolutely useful in today's world. And a pretty simple, benign thing to have a conversation about. Like, I like American football. As someone who's a Cleveland Browns fan, and as someone, there's a level of humor that I can have being a Cleveland Browns fan, because I've never really been that good. And there's always, one of the jokes about being a Cleveland Browns fan is, the first snap of the first game, you learn the mantra maybe next year. And it's funny to say because it's a very, it doesn't sound hopeful, but it's just something that is just very, very funny in the spectrum of things. Or, like, for example, the stadium, the nickname of one of the stadiums was the Factory of Sadness. And it's just one of those fun things that's just a good, wholesome, simple conversation that you can have with other people. So I have a lot of European friends and some British friends. And so I learned about what we call here in the United States soccer, what they call football. And so I learned a lot about it. I did some research. I picked a team that I would have related with. So I'm a Villa fan. So big fan of Villa. Golly Watson. Probably one of my favorite players at the current moment for football. Like, I'll be excited. I am kind of excited about the World Cup this year being in North America. And so I have that we can just have, fun little comments, fun little conversations I can have with people. And I think one of the things that's been lost in this modern era that we live in is how to relate with another person. We see everything from the TV to maybe your favorite podcasters to stuff like that. Is we see everything focusing on debates. And, debates are good, but they're usually two people that are in disagreement trying to convince the other person why they're wrong. And I think that does not promote fellowship. Is it good to have discourse? Is it good to have different opinions being spoken? It absolutely is. But rarely do you see two people that are having a debate online or on TV. Rarely do you see those two people ever find something that they have in common. Classic chick, hello. I think your TTS, the voice TTS that you have is not working. Is it possible for you to type !voice and then just pick a random name, like type in like Sarah or your name or Jessica or whatever name? I want to see if that actually fixes it. So !voice space a name, because I hear something like it tries to do the TTS, but it never actually reads me or reads me the text. So if possible, and if not, no big deal. I just might miss some of your things that you type. And I don't know why. Maybe the voice it picked for you back in the day, it broke it. And that particular voice doesn't work anymore. So But yeah, I notice it. I rarely, I mean, occasionally, like I'll see some podcasts. Diary of a CEO is a good example, and some of the other ones that I listen to. Dark Horse with Brett Weinstein. Some of the smaller podcast people that I really enjoy listening to. I notice that they sometimes do that, but it's just so very, very common. It's so very, very common for people to just have disagreements, and it leads to two people arguing. And yeah, I know it's probably entertaining, the Jerry Springer effect. To a lot of people, they like to see two people not get along. I'm thinking at the particular point, us feeling that this is getting extremely harmful for society. Not seeing people get along, not having people find the common ground. Because, I mean, I don't think I'm special when it comes to this, but I can usually find common ground with just about everyone. It doesn't matter, what disagreement we have. There's usually something in common I can find with most folks. And I don't think it's just because I'm well-read and well-experienced. I don't think that plays as much of a role, because I can find things in common with folks that by societal terms would not be considered well-read or well-versed in anything, and can have wonderful, great conversations with those people. And I watch my little brother, who is special needs. He has great conversations with people as well. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's just most of us have forgotten to like people instead of dislike people. A trend I see a lot, especially in modern times, I don't know if it's actually people or if it's the bots on the internet trying to get us to be angry at each other for engagement, but I've noticed that people don't even bother to try. They think they know someone. They think they know their political affiliation. They think they know something about something they read in their profile, and they just assume that they're going to completely disagree with that person on everything. And so they just start arguing with that person. And, don't get me wrong, trolling has its purpose, but you should also try to practice what I call elfing. It's where you try to, instead of tear down a person, try to build up the person. Talk about how great their idea is, how it's innovative. And I'm not saying don't blow smoke up their ass or anything, but like try to find something positive about what someone is saying, even if you don't necessarily agree, because it might help you change your opinion on things. It might help you be better at being a good version of you. Because we tend to forget how that. So going back to the whole thing where I was talking about living in the 90s, we've forgotten that. And the other thing in the 90s is, we'd actually make fun of Jerry Springer shows. We would laugh at it. We would be like, oh, that's just outlandish and crazy. Look at those crazy people doing crazy things. And then we became the crazy people doing the crazy things. It's almost like they tricked us into becoming the entertainment instead of allowing it to stay on the TV. And I know it's part of human nature, but is it? Because we are such a social creature. I mean, one of my favorite things that I learned in school, just to remind everyone, my background in school is human development, specialized in child development, human sexuality, and what makes people tick, like how humans develop over time. And one of my favorite things is the experiments of how simply something as like a coin flip or a color can make people loyal to a group. So you can get like a group of 10 people and you can have them flip a coin, heads or tails, and you can put all the people that got heads on one side and all the people that have tails on the other side. And they will build a bit of loyalty to the people that are on their team, even though their team was completely picked by random, because they have something in common now. There is a bit of loyalty that people have towards something like that. Or, like we said earlier, the loyalty to having someone else. You find someone, you meet some stranger out in the world, and they like the same sports team that you do.
Visit X.Firefly's Ko-fi page at.
This kind of loyalty to them. And it's so intriguing how humans work. So we aren't really meant to just argue all the time. Azteco anime. I don't know what that is, but... And what said in my ear was really even weirder. But so the other thing I want to mention is we wonder why people are lonely. We wonder why people are tired. We wonder why everything feels like it's changed so much. Well, I think part of it is we don't move our bodies as much as we should. After living on the farm here for 20 years, so a city kid, grew up in the suburbs, grew up in the inner city, Akron, Ohio, for those that want to know where I grew up, because some people like to want to know. And Akron, Ohio had its ghettos, it's had its bad parts. Then I moved to Greene, which was a suburb of Akron. I lived there through most of my teenage years. And then I moved down here to southern West Virginia. What was I saying? Oh, so one of the things that I've learned from living here in the country is when you're required to move your body on a regular basis, there's a level of happiness that you have. There's getting something accomplished, like accomplishing putting dirt into a flower bed. It's a goal, and I'm getting it accomplished. So there's just something nice about achieving little goals. I think it's part of the reason why us humans really enjoy video games, because a lot of video games, there's goals, and we get those goals accomplished. Now, I am an advocate. I actually think video games used appropriately are actually wonderful tools for humans. I think that if you play the certain video games and they stimulate your brain, they stimulate your mind, they actually make you more creative, especially if you take what you've played in a video game and you then try to put it in everyday life. Like, so an example, some of you watch in the evenings, watch me and my sister play a variety of video games. And so like lately we've been playing Ranch Simulator. And what I really like about Ranch Simulator is I can try some stuff in that game, and it can help me try to problem solve how I want to do things in real life on my property. So that's what's really fun about that game. And I think other games can do the same thing. Like I think some of the business sim games, I think, can help get your brain thinking about how to do things with a business mindset. Or, you can just learn different things. It's fundamentally what I'm trying to point out here. I digress. I went in a different direction, and I don't know what direction I was trying to go. I was trying to go in with what I was saying. Doesn't really matter. We'll just we got a lot of dirt to move, so it'll come back into my brain at some particular point while we move this dirt. The other thing is we lack social third spaces. I say we actually have third spaces. I was thinking about this a lot. You might want to call them fourth spaces. Some people might want to call them fourth spaces. And I'm okay with calling them fourth spaces. But like, first space is home. Second place is work. Third space was things like churches, libraries, coffee shops, bars, things of that where so you're interacting with people. I would say your fourth space is your digital space. And I think fourth spaces are actually important. Like, I actually don't think social media is as harmful as people make it out to be. It's just we use it inappropriately. If we used social media appropriately, I think that it could be very useful. Like YouTube, streaming, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, all have a lot of benefits. I can learn things from other people. I can find things that I can look at someone's picture book without them having to show it to me. It's a very nice way to get a glimpse on other people's lives. And some people say, yeah, but it's not real. But if you went to someone's house and you looked at their picture book, their picture album that they had sitting on their table, or you watched a home video, it would also not be, the entire truth neither. So we've always tailored our worlds to what we think other people want to see, or how we want other people to see us. As someone who tries not to do it, I still catch myself doing it. There's still times when an animal dies, or I'm just not feeling of right mind, that I don't share that with everyone. So I do still keep some aspects of life private, and I think everyone will always keep some aspects of life private. Because some parts of life are meant to be shared with, maybe with no one, or with a very small group of human beings. And I think even when we lived in tribes, and we lived in clans, and we lived in small towns, and we lived in hamlets, I still think that was all very true. I still think that we kept relationships at some events we just kept very private. So I don't find anything odd with that. What I don't like is when people try to pretend, they try to impress, when they wear a mask onto the world that isn't actually a mask that they enjoy wearing. We're all going to wear masks. We're all going to, that's just how we are. We're all going to hide parts of us. Being that, we are vulnerable, that humans are vulnerable, and people take advantage of vulnerable people. We're all going to do that to some extent. And I'm actually okay. I'm okay with that. Now, I do suggest, folks, if you've never taken off your mask, you've never tried to be your true self in situations, I do suggest doing that experiment. You should not wear your mask all the time. You should try to be vulnerable for certain times, because there is a lot you can learn. Maybe the mask you're wearing is unneeded, and you can replace it with a more interesting one. But I think once you learn which character to play, which character you are that day, and some people might disagree with that too. They're just like, you should always be your true, genuine self. The thing is you probably don't know who your true, genuine self is. And even when you do know your true, genuine self, it's also the version that you think you have in your head, where how you view yourself and how others view you is always going to be different. I love that. I think that is so cool. So I was having a conversation with Lisa this morning about this, actually. We were talking about how I genuinely don't care how strangers think of me, but I care a whole lot about people that I like, how they think of me. So I'll give an example. When I go out in public, I rarely ever think about what other people are thinking of me. I'm actually more intrigued on what other people are doing. I love people watching. like trying to figure out what makes other people tick. And so I'm out in the world. I'm kind of just watching, observing, paying attention to like how things are functioning out there in the world. And so like some people will say, oh, well, you know, what are they going to think about if I wear this particular outfit? I don't even think, like most of the time, maybe it's because the books I've read, like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and realizing that most people are too consumed with what's going on in their world, in their own head, that they don't even notice you. And by observing people, I would say that that is true. And because I know that's true, I really don't think about how other people perceive me unless I'm friends with them. And then when I'm friends with people, I do actually care about how they perceive me, because I desire to be looked at as someone who is reliable, someone who's friendly, someone who will be there for you. And I try to live my life as at a young age, being blessed with knowing that my calling was to help people. My thought as a young person, I thought my calling was to save the world. And I joke around now and I said, yeah, my calling wasn't to save the world, it was to rebuild the world after it's been destroyed. I don't know what that means. I still feel that is a direction, is to rebuild. I still feel like that is part of my purpose, is to be fit for humanity, to be fit for humans, to serve, and to figure out how to help everybody rebuild. That is, my archetype is a mage. If you're into Jungian archetypes, I'm very much a mage. I always thought I wanted to be a healer, but I am not necessarily good at healing. I'm good at being the captain. Thought about this a lot. Could I be a king? I don't know if I could be a king. I'm not much of authority, so I don't really like ruling over people. I like control, but I don't necessarily like ruling over people. I have this mindset that I think most people don't like to be ruled over. I think I'm wrong with that statement. I think some people like to be told what to do. Then they can give them ways to focus on other things. But I think as a captain, I think I function better as a captain than a king. And what do I mean by that? A captain is I can give orders, I can tell people what to do, but in general, we work as a captain, we try to work together as a unit. So, I'm going to go down with the ship. And I don't expect anybody else to, but while the ship is afloat, I expect we work as hard as we can to preserve the message, the thing that we're doing. So it's one of the things, it's different than a king. A king stays in their ivory tower. A king doesn't lead. A king leads from the back. A captain doesn't lead from the front. He leads from the middle. It's kind of the way I look at it. Like, I'm not a general. General leads from the front. The king leads from the back. The captain leads from the middle. You're in the mix with everybody else, and so that's how I like to be perceived. That's why when I say it's important how my friends see me, that's why I word it that way. In the years that I've done all of the different things that I've done, so I've balanced my chakras, which my chakras are still broken. My solar plex chakra is still very not functioning. The shadow work I continue doing and learning to. I've integrated my shadow because I love my shadow. I love that aspect of myself. I love the dark, mischievous side, because it keeps me out of trouble, as interesting as that might sound. As a person who loves people and sees the best in everyone, having my shadow of distrust, and having my shadow of of understanding that not everyone is good, because I tend to believe that people are good first and bad second, and they're bad because of trauma and because of lack of understanding, and that if they understood that we live in utter abundance, people would not be bad. That is a strength I have in a weakness. So that's why I say that the shadow helps me, because the shadow helps keep that in check. So
visit X-Star Firefly's Ko-Fi page at.
See, it talked for a second and then I lost it. So so it's just visiting that. Interesting. It's cool that it makes like a breath sound in my ears. I just don't know why it doesn't read it sometimes, but that's no big deal. So something this year, I didn't get a whole lot the chance to do it last year. And I did a little bit during COVID and a little bit done it in the past, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with forest bathing. So it's where you kind of go for quiet hikes in the woods. You reconnect with nature. So I've been, I didn't used to call it forest bathing. I just called it hiking, or going on a quiet hike or a mindful hike. I mean, I've been doing that since I was probably a teenager. I would say 16, maybe even younger than that. So would that be 30 years? And I realized how some people have never done that. So I like to take people, usually one-on-one, or usually in a very small group of people, like under 5, somewhere between 5 or so people, and we go for mindful walks. And we sometimes they're quiet walks, sometimes they're just general conversation walks, because not everyone likes quiet. Some people, quiet is a dangerous time for them. They're not quite ready to spend time in quiet. So we go for hushed. It's probably a better way to put it. We go for hushed hikes and teach them how to listen to what's going on. Like if we do a hushed, let's let this car go past, and we can do a hushed moment. We can talk about what we hear. So I'm not sure how much the mic's gonna pick up, so I'll just we'll go for about 15-30 seconds, and we'll give it the time to do the hushed moment, and then I'll talk about what I've heard, and we will start now. So I heard a bird in the distance. It's very, very still. So where I would normally hear branches clunking together, there's no leaves on the tree, so you don't hear any leaves flapping. I can hear my chickens. Sounds like there's something over near the pond. I'm not sure. I would need to spend some more time really listening and focusing on that. I can, not only do I hear that kind of stuff, but what did I feel? So I can feel the sunshine on my neck. I can feel the ground. I can feel my body wanting to pull some of that extra energy from the ground. So there, I can hear the wind. You hear the wind going through the pine trees and how much different wind goes through pine trees, how it sounds than when it goes through. If we were deeper in the woods, you could probably hear the rustle of animals down between the leaves, squirrels or chipmunks, or even deer and how they walk. If you're by a river, you can hear the babbling brook. You can hear the water as it tumbles over rocks, as the oxygen gets sucked to the surface and the molecules get broken. You can also hear if you listen carefully at a river, you can also hear the rocks as they get rounded. It's a very slow process, but you can hear the rocks tumble over each other if you listen carefully. Sometimes you can hear the fish pop up. You can hear the insects skip across the surfaces. So there's lots of wonderful things that you can listen to. And the reason why I think it's important to do forest bathing or hushed hikes, which I'm taking that term now, I really like it, is it reconnects you to remind you that you're here now, that this is what you have now. It's now. So yesterday was in the past, tomorrow is a gift, today is the present. It's a present. It's gifted to you. It's awesome. You're here because it's just awesome. That's why you're here. You're here because you're awesome, because this world was created for you. Everything that you experience was here for you, created for you, so that you can experience whatever you're experiencing right now. Even if you're experiencing sorrow, even if you're experiencing joy, even if you're experiencing whatever, it's for you. There's lots of distractions, and distractions are okay. Distractions are part of the fun. It's good to be distracted. It's good to, but you don't want to be always distracted. Like, it's cool to have nice things. It's fun to have a fast car. It's fun to have pretty clothes. It's fun to have fun technology. But you also have to learn to get out there and enjoy the dirt, because it's here for you as well. This dirt is for you to play with and to get your hands in and to reconnect you. And the birds, they're singing for you. That song is for you. It has other purposes as well. But we have our ears, and it's so beautiful to humans is because it was designed for us to enjoy. The wind, the way the wind whips through the trees and is an enjoyable sound. I mean, one of the other things is something that just amazes me, that I absolutely love. And science has a definition for it, an explanation for it, but I think it's such a lame, it doesn't give it enough things, is the fact that we humans can smell rain miles away. We can smell rain. I think it's 1,000 times better than sharks can smell blood in the water. We can smell when it's gonna rain. And that, they say, oh, it's a survival thing. But I think it's more than that. I think it's a joy. Rain means so many things. It doesn't just mean access to water. It doesn't just mean life. It doesn't just mean danger. It means everything. Rain, water, it's one of the elements. Humans smell fire. We smell smoke and fire very well. We smell a lot of the elements. Like, actually, the smell of rain is part of the smell of rain is also the combination between the smell of rain and the smell of dirt together. You know when it smells like worms outside? We're such awesome beings, and we forget that. We forget that every day. Like, when you guys woke up this morning, you have a cup of coffee or had your tea or you sat down for a second, did you think about how awesome you are? Not like that you did something awesome, but just how awesome it is that you exist. How amazingly cool. And then how amazingly cool that other people exist too. And how we all share so much in common and experience things so differently. I think that's so fun. I think it's so fun to think about. And if you have a tough time thinking of this, then you need to find a way to get your mind to easily think about this stuff. So some of my friends, I remember we used to talk about when they needed to think outside the box or needed to think about weird stuff, is they would, we'd have a campfire and they'd sit around and smoke pot and get their brain functioning like that. That's fine. I think it's perfectly fine to do whatever you need to do to get your brain, to ease your brain and to get it so that you can just kind of exhale. So you can have nirvana for a minute. So what nirvana means is literally just breathe out. Nirvana means, I'll show you what nirvana is. Nirvana is, just want you guys all to try that. Sit here for just a second. Take a good deep breath in. Just hold it for a minute. Just hold that breath that you have. Feel it moving around in your body. And then just exhale. Just a long, big exhale. You can feel the stress off of your shoulders leave. Depending on a variety of stuff, you're going to feel maybe lighter. You're going to feel different. And that's what nirvana is. Nirvana is just the exhale. It's the exhale of energy of life. It's not bliss. It's, it's the, probably the best way to put it. And we do that thousands of times throughout the course of the day. We have nirvana thousands of times throughout the course of the day, and we miss it. We don't spend enough time feeling that exhale. Why? Because life's distracting. It's okay for life to be distracting. And we just forget because we are busy. We're busy little bees because we were trained to be busy little bees. We were trained by people that don't always have our best interest in mind. So I want to talk a little bit about the monster class, the elite, the ruling class, the powers to be, the who not should be named, all of that. I want to share you on a secret. I might share people on this secret on a regular basis, but it is still a secret because people tend to disagree with me, and they think that these people are doing something different. And the secret is, dun 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 dun, is that they're just doing this for the laugh. They're bored. They have the power. They have the control. They can do anything that they want. By the way, so can you. But they can do anything that they want. And they have done. They create our own money. They create the money. They don't care about money. They don't care about things. They're not even doing it to depopulate the planet like some people think. And they're doing it because it's funny. They do it for the lols. Most everything that gets done in the world is done for the lols. And I know that sounds weird. You might think, why? No, they're Satan worshipers, or, they believe in the devil, or they do this kind of stuff. They do it for the lols. They do it for the joy of something being funny. Because I believe they're a comedy or a tragedy. But think of how many times when you feel sad, you want to laugh. And that's what it is. It is no more nefarious than that. Now, I'm not saying anything that they do is good. I'm saying that we should like it. And we should say that it's a good thing, and that just because they're doing it for the laws just because they're doing it for the laugh is a good thing. But when you realize that's why they're doing it, they lose some of their power. Because they have their power because they play by a different set of rules than we do, and they tell us that this is our set of rules. They tell us that this is how we are supposed to be doing things. And they indoctrinate us in their schools, and they indoctrinate us in their society that they create. And they use their spells and use their programming but they're doing it because
visit X-Star Firefly's
the same reason why a lot of
at
people get on the internet and they troll. And they get on there and they feel that, you know, they like to say things on the internet to get people riled up, and they do it because they think it's funny. They think it's cool to see people upset. And just know that that is one of the things that we as humans do. It's not even so much for power. There are power moves that we make, but usually we want power so that we can be happy, so we can smile, so we can joke around, so we can go more into leisure time. Speaking of leisure time, it's been a little while since I've broken down Doc's secret to life. I'm going to give you guys we're going to cover all the secrets today. One of the secrets to life is knowing how to balance out your day. So, you definitely should sleep. I tell everyone you should at least get your 8 hours of sleep. Whatever that means to you, get your 8 hours of sleep. So then we're going to go to the next thing is I say 4 hours of work. And some of you are going to say, oh, that's impossible, Doc. Most people don't do 4 hours of work at work anyways. When you really realize how much you do at work, it's not 4 hours. So you need to do 4 hours of work, whatever work means. And what work means is it is ways to generate revenue. It is ways to accomplish goals. It is something that you're doing because you are delaying gratification. You are making it so that you can do something in the future. That's what work is for. Work is to make your life, make future you think that you're awesome. Then you need at least 3 hours of play. And the play can be anything. Play can be sitting and just chilling out. Play can be playing video games with your friends. It can be throwing around the football. It can be focusing on a hobby. It can just be something that you're doing for pure leisure, pure enjoyment, pure gardening. What's cool about gardening is play that is productive. And play does not have to not be productive. It can still be productive, but you're doing it. The purpose of it is for the joy, not for the reward. Now, there can be, like I said, there can be rewards from play, but the first purpose is the enjoyment of what it is. So that brings us to 15 hours. So that leaves us another 9 hours throughout the course of our day to be doing things. So I would say we can easily take an hour away from that. So that puts us into 8 hours. That hour that we take away is just for general maintenance. So those are things like going to the bathroom. Those are things like making food. Those are things like taking showers and just your maintenance. So you have an hour of maintenance a day. And some of you might have longer than an hour of maintenance a day, because these are absolutely just rough numbers. So that leaves us at 8 hours left in our day. I would say that 8 hours needs to be broken up into learning, interacting, and silence, or meditation, or prayer, or something you reconnect. So of the 8 hours you have left, you need to separate that 8 hours up among the 3 things. So some days you may commune, you may practice fellowship with human beings. So you may do that for 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 hours. Other parts you may focus on education. So you may read things, you may do things that are to make you smarter, make you more productive. It's what I call the growth stage. So you need to do something. You need, of that 8 hours, some of that hourage needs to be growth, making you a better version of you. And every day there is something that you can do to grow a little bit. Now, some days you may grow more, and some days you may, just reflect on that growingness. And then you need meditation, prayer, silence, whatever you want to call that. And some days that may be 2 hours, 4 hours, 15 minutes. You need a little bit of that every day. Now, if you listen to that, someone say, well, but Justin, Doc, how is that productive? How am I being a productive person? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do that kind of stuff? And what I'm trying to explain to you there is life isn't about just paying your bills. If you give yourself the proper time to meditate, you give yourself the proper time, you're able to figure out what you actually need, and you're not being so distracted by the world that you're going to overspend. You're going to be buying things that you don't actually need. If you practice fellowship in part of that 4 hours or part of that 8 hours, then you have the company of others. And when you're with other people, you realize the enjoyment and how sometimes just being with another person can bring joy, and it can fill in the gaps of stuff. Plus, also when you're with other people, you are using those resources together. You're sharing the resources. And so so the monetary aspect of life can be reduced. When you're learning, you are growing. And when you're growing, you're learning new skills. And those new skills makes you more efficient at generating revenue, finding ways to, maybe you learn to cook in that time. And so now you don't have to spend so much money going out to eat. Or you're just like, you learn something and you're just like, oh, wow, it is this affordable to make my own bread. Or I'm going to learn, I really like cappuccinos. So you learn the skill on how to make your own cappuccinos. And so that you in turn save money in that direction. Or you do some financing and you learn how to control your finances better. I honestly believe that you can call it God, you can call it source, you can call it the ether, you can call it whatever you'd like to call it, whatever spiritual things that you want to call it. But you are never given more than you can handle. Now, some levels are hard, absolutely hard, and it might take you to your edge, and it might fill you up, and that is all you can focus on, and you don't know where to go. But life does not give you more than you can handle. Whatever life's giving you, you can handle it. It just can be very overwhelming, and sometimes it requires teamwork. And I don't want you to think that life doesn't give you things you can't handle by yourself. Sometimes life's giving you the stuff that's overwhelming for you because it's telling you that it's time for you to ask for teamwork. It's time for you to ask the tribe. That you should be asking for help. It needs to humble you. Because there are times that humans, we absolutely need to be humbled. We forget that we are not a lone wolf, that we do not live on an island by ourselves, that every everything that we have is because we share together. I think right now, especially here in the States, is they brought in these words socialism and communism, and they brought in these words to try to separate us, to try to make us so that we don't live together. We have this concept of capitalism, that capital is more important than anything else. But if you really look at how humans function, you need resources, absolutely, but we live in utter abundance, so there's resources everywhere. We need people, and sometimes you need to share what you got. So if I grow an abundance of food, I'm going to share some of that abundance of food. If I have a lot of work to do, I hope that someone will share some of the workload with me. So it's why I practice permaculture. So earth care, people care, and fair share. So let me explain that in modern day terms for some of you guys. So earth care. It doesn't have to be green. It doesn't have to be some of this, hippy dippy stuff. It doesn't have to be crazy. It's take care of what you've got. So the earth, your house, your clothes, your environment. You take care of it. You take care of what is currently taking care of you. So you take care of your house. You take care of your water source. You take care of your fruit. You take care of your veg. You take care of all of that. Next is people care. There are people everywhere. And you are also a person. So that means that you should be taking care of you as a person. You should be taking care of your family. You should be taking care of anything that you consider people's. Maybe your pets are people's to you. So you take care of your pets. And you just genuinely understand that taking care of the people, because we are all interconnected peoples, you genuinely take care of your peoples together. And then the last one is fair share. This is where in the permaculture world, there becomes lots of different arguments about what this means. And it's not about sharing just abundance. It's sharing everything. So you absolutely share abundance. If you get a giant yield, you should absolutely share that yield. But you can also share the toil. You share the pain, the suffering, the heartache, the workload, the joy. So the fair share is to make sure that everyone shares to their ability. So there's very few freeloaders in this world. Now people are going to argue, but just because your definition of freeloading might not be the same as somebody else's, just because you want to work harder than someone else does, it doesn't mean that they don't have value to put into the world. And we can argue forever about what, if we had a true universal basic income with no strings, what that would actually mean. The problem is I don't think we'll ever get there. But if we did, I think that amazing things would happen in the world. I think we would achieve greatness. So Lisa and Benny are here. Hello, Miss Lisa. How are you? How did chicken feeding and bunny feeding go? Good. It's a dirty job, but it's getting filled up. Yeah, it is. What'd you say?
Something on my camera bothers me, but I'll figure it out.
What's bothering you on your camera?
You gotta take a picture and make it leveler.
Oh, you can probably turn that off. Yeah, you can. A lot of features you can turn off. A lot of features you can turn on. If you don't even like that camera, we can download other cameras You just have the default camera, but there's other cameras that you can add to that. You know, just as like there's other kinds of film, you can get different cameras that take pictures like it's a particular kind of film that just defaultly goes that way. Or like, you know, like I can set mine to manual. So if I want to adjust the ISO. So. Yes, Mr. Benny.
Don't walk back to the dead thing.
Visit X-Star Firefly's Ko-fi page at
I don't know why my texting isn't working on my stream, but it's okay. But yeah, that's why I practice. Permaculture is the mindset I think is the best to be practicing when it comes to the world that we live in. It helps it doesn't promote, I don't think permaculture really promotes anything that is negative. Not that I can think of. I can't think of anything that is selfish or negative or bad about permaculture. Well, I've been trying to think of that. What that one thing would be, Lisa. I cannot think of anything. So now we'll go back to talking about the 4 hours of work and the at least 3 hours of play and 8 hours of sleep. So some of you will say, yeah, but I want to be rich. And I like to ask people, why? Why be rich when you can be wealthy? Because wealth does not necessarily relate to numbers. Wealth can be your knowledge, your friends. One of the things that I have spent a long time looking into trying to figure out ways to... No, I'm good, thank you. When I've looked into ways to generate more money to improve my lifestyle, and really when I say improve my lifestyle, part of the reason is because I have a bad relationship with money, I realize that it means that my bad relationship with money means that I don't have the ability, because I don't like money, I can't use it to help more people. So I've been trying to change my mindset on money so that I don't view it as an evil thing. I just view it as a tool, which is a lot of brainwashing that has happened to me over my life when it comes to that, is learning to have a better relationship with that. Because I've realized that if I had more, I could do more, I could help more people. There's more, I could probably fellowship better. I would have more free time, but I'd also have the ability to get people here and teach them things, because I could take their burden away. And so one of the things that I have been looking into and researching and talking with a few people is how, like it or not, how a billionaire looks at money and looks at how they do things, because most billionaires do not work 9 to 5. They actually fall closer into my 4-hour work day. You know, you have that book, The 4-Hour Work Week. And so I've been trying to figure out different tricks with that. Again, I still have to deal with my relationship with money. That is something I'm having a very, very personal, tough time with. I am blessed. I am absolutely blessed because the ether, the world that exists out there, whatever you want to call source, the ether, God, whatever you want to say, has, whenever I'm in need, either because of either my skill sets and I know how to get it, or the world just knows that I need extra, it gives it to me. But I think that if I was able to bless other people as well, I think I would make things easier. I'm so, a little real talk here for a minute. I'm so concerned sometimes about not wanting to come across as needy, scammy, making sure that you're getting a value. Like, I don't know how to change that mindset. If anybody does, I'm absolutely extremely open to find that. I mean, honestly, like, my dream would be to figure out how to get grants for everything, or figure out people that have this vision, a vision similar to mine, but are unable to do the work, but would, you know, we can have conversations about the projects and they can help fund the projects, and I can make sure the projects get done the appropriate way, and their finances, their passion, and the time that they spent to generate that revenue can be put in to make things better as well. Again, just that's again one of my largest blocks in the world. So I have no desire, I honestly have no desire to have a high net worth. I have no desire to, you know, make a particular amount of money. I have the desire to just make life easier for me and everyone around me, and those that I touch life with. Again, rebuilding. I want to rebuild. Because as much as an optimist as I am about things, I am very, very much a pessimist doomer. What I think is going to occur in the next 20 years, it's actually a downfall. It is part of my the blocks that I have of why I'm not as woo-woo as I'd like to be, is because I really feel I need to be prepared. That is my response. That is my response. I feel that is absolutely my responsibility to make sure, because I can see the signs, I can see where things are going. I was given the eyes to see, and because of that, it means that I have to have a calling. So, oh, speaking of all of that, I don't think I've talked about it in a while, but I do offer, if anybody wants to do life coaching, I offer a free 15-minute, and it's usually longer than, I'll be honest, guys, it's going to be longer than 15 minutes. The 15 minutes is for your sake, not necessarily for mine, because I'm not any very winded, I say a lot, I talk a lot. I have lots of things to talk about, but I have, if you go to my Calendary, I think it's also on my links page, but free 15 minutes where you can talk with me about anything that you would like. We can talk about life. We can talk about farming. We can talk about gardening. We can talk about all that stuff. So I used to be a dating coach back 20 years ago in another life. I used to, I actually am still a life coach. I teach, I call it life navigation now, but I do life coaching with folks. I have 4 or 5 people that we talk with. We trade for that one, so I'm always open to barter. We trade every one of my life coach people. Everything is just on by trade. Because again, they need the services, and I need some of their services, and we might as well just find ways to trade that. Also, the more I can stay outside of the money realm, the less I can pay taxes, which means my current I think taxation is theft, just to make sure we're on the page with that. But especially now when our taxes are not being used for the greater good. Like if our taxes were being used to help people that are in need, I have no problem helping people in need. I have no problem with Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, services like that. I have no problem with any of those. I just don't like when our money is being spent for war. Protection is one thing, war is another. I don't support war. I never will support war. By the way, if a draft ever does happen, my church, I have all the paperwork set up if you need to become part of my church, if your kids need to become part of my church. It's the Tabernacle of Universal Understanding. We don't believe in somebody else telling us that we should be fighting for somebody else. So if need be, we will put together refuge, and we will figure out ways to help those to not be drafted. And some of you may say, so you're just a draft dodger. You're just thinking of that direction. And yes, I am. I do not think that you should, I don't think that you should die for your country. You can die for your land. You can die for your family. You can die for your clan. You can die for your faith. You can die for your beliefs. But you don't die for your country, especially a country that isn't taking care of you. So, my dad's at the VA. I've got lots of friends that go to the VA. And while the VA is doing its part, it's also it broke all of its tin soldiers, and it's not doing enough to fix them. We should have no homeless vets. We should have no sick vets. Every vet should have their life in utter luxury for the sacrifice they made for us. And we don't do that. So because we don't do that, I don't think that you, me, any family member should be forced to die for a country that does not protect us. So does that make me un-American? Probably. But as I say, I'm an Appalachian. I'm not an American, I'm an Appalachian. It's Appalachia first. So I worry about these hills, these mountains, the people from here. This is my culture. These are my people. This is where I feel the need. So if we took care of our soldiers, if we took care of our returning boys and girls, if we made sure that they had if we debriefed them appropriately. I know I have friends that I had a tough time, really tough time. Luckily, I was there present during some of them, but they went over and played in the sandlot, and then they came home and they didn't have proper counseling. They didn't have proper counseling to function back into the real world. So they were a soldier. They were trained to be a soldier. They did soldiery things. And then we threw them back into civilian life. And civilian life and soldier life are drastically different. So just to remind everyone, part of the reason I know all this is because I was actually planning on going into the Air Force, and I was going to be a psychologist for the Air Force. That's part of the reason I was taking psychology classes. I really wanted to be able to help the folks that were leaving, that were having to transition, either transition from civilian life to soldier life or from soldier life to civilian life. And then all the little stuff in between. That's really one of the focuses I wanted to do. When I was younger, I thought that was a direction I needed to go. Life sent me in a different direction, but I still have the knowledge of that. So, and then we also have all the folks that just need a little extra help. There are plenty of folks out there in the world that you might call them lazy. You might think that they're bad people. You might think that they're robbing and stealing because they want to sit at home and do nothing. But usually if you go with all those people, you find an underlying problem. There's something about them that is not working appropriately, and proper care, maybe some medicine, maybe some counseling.
Visit X-Star Firefly's Ko-fi page at...
Maybe even just a little bit of hope. But if we offered them that, if our government took care of us that way. So there's not many things I think our government should be doing, but our government should be protecting us.
Streaming the Night Watch primarily
That's really
on Rumble.
The purpose of a government is to protect us, not to rule over us. Not supposed to be our rulers. We don't live in a kingdom. So we live, we're supposed to help other people, I guess is the way I'm looking at that. And so if our government was here to help us, like, I love the idea of universal healthcare. I love the idea that healthcare should be free. The problem is that the way that we would try to do it in this country would absolutely fail. The way our current medical system is set up is absolutely insanity. We don't help people try to not get sick. We wait till after they're sick. We have that Kellogg mindset. It was installed in the 1890s, early 20th century. And you can see that if you read old medical books, it wasn't that way. It wasn't until they got involved and realized that they can turn medicine into a business. And I understand that we can't fix that right now, because if we did, we would lose millions of jobs. And we don't have a way to deal with that. It's very complicated. It's extremely complicated. I think sometimes people don't understand how absolutely complicated the whole system is. Again, I say taxation is theft. But I'd be fine if we figured out a way to properly tax corporations and not to tax individual people. I think there's ways to do that. So, Cyber X Speed. Hello. Just working on some stuff here. But I digress. I get on subjects like that, and I can go down rabbit holes, and I can talk about my opinion and talk about how I would make the world better if I had more control, if I had more say in things. But I can also, though, one thing I can also say is, as I build my parallel society, as I stop participating in the bullshit that exists in the world, I can build things the way I want to build them. And I can find people that have similar views to me, and we can build them together and not worry so much about the rest of the world. One of the reasons why I really was a big crypto fan, I still am to a certain extent. I still think crypto has its place. I think, unfortunately, right now, everybody views crypto as a get-rich scheme, that they're going to be filthy rich, and not understanding the value of the idea, the blockchain idea, that we can totally build a parallel. I think it's actually could be part of the part of the wave of an alternative future, but not the way it's currently being manipulated and used. And yeah, everything right now, most of the good in the world, I'm not going to say that because I don't agree with that statement, because there's still so much good in the world. A lot of the visible good is being manipulated. It's being manipulated and tricked on purpose so that just like I was starting to make the comment about that, it's so that we don't perceive good the way we used to. And that is, that's not true. The good is there's still so much good. There's still so many great people. Still so many things that can do things in utter greatness because we live in such abundance. Because we live in the utter abundance. Is that not charging? Or is it charging? I can't tell. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Those that stuck around or visiting, hello again. Just taking a break. We are filling up this flower bed, so you can see I've got that much done. And I've got about that much more to go. I'm gonna move you guys back just a little bit so you guys can actually see me filling up the rest of that flower bed. And still see what I'm doing. There we go. So some of you that are maybe new to me might wonder, Doc, I thought you just played video games or you just did stuff about chickens. Why do you do videos where you just talk? And it's kind of weird. You're kind of a weird dude. I'm like, I am a weird dude. That is true. I sometimes think there's a lack of realness in the world. And I think people, a hubris believes that sometimes we just need to watch realness and not this crazy, like, live streamers. Not all of them, but there's just so many live streamers that go out and try to make real. They try to stir up drama in the world and not realize that you don't need to stir up drama. You just need to sit and observe. And there's enough drama already in the world that you don't need to create any more. Sometimes just the simpleness. And yes, I know you're going to say, but Doc, there's like 4 people watching you right now, or like 4 people commenting, so you're not actually that successful with what you're doing. You're right. But this isn't meant for everyone. It's meant for those that find it when they find it. And those that stay. And those that want to visit for a bit. It's also meant for me. It gives me ways to talk. Even if sometimes I'm just talking to myself. There's no one else here. Talking into the silence. And that's okay. I have a lot of friends that stream, and they say, I would love to stream, but every time I stream, there's never anyone there. There's never anyone to talk to. And I give the I can't remember what the movie is, but that whole, if you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you stream, they will watch. You know, I've been streaming for 21 years now. Might have been another site that currently doesn't exist anymore. And I did Periscope and Meerkat and Mixer. And I took a break for a bit when I was really focusing on growing my bed and breakfast. I took a break from it for a while. And I streamed just during crazy weather events or just off and on occasionally. And then I got really back into it in 2018. It was really fun. Streaming during COVID was some fun times. And then, middle of COVID, I just got burnt out with life. I got overwhelmed. I actually think I was on a level that I did not realize I was having. I think the depression came from I had lost so many friends. So I had friends that didn't make it past illness. I had friends that took an experimental drug and didn't make it. I had friends that the stress was just too much for. And they chose a new game. And I had friends that just broke. And their personality completely changed. And they are not the same as they used to be. And that was really, as much as I planned for the apocalypse and the end of the world, some of that was stuff it sounded like I could handle. Some of it was more than I could handle. And so for a few years there, around 23 and 24, unbeknownst to me, I would say I didn't know I was in such strong melancholy, that the depression was as strong as it was. I did not recognize it, but I would say that it was a tough time for me. I lost the oomph. And I finally gained it back last year, but then last year kicked my butt with cancer and recovering from my surgery for that. But no, this end of last year, beginning of this year, I had some interesting experiences that helped me reconnect with my mission, I should say. So, and life showed me paths to be able to do my mission, to talk and to help and to be there for people. And lately, I've been asking the universe to help connect me with people that will inspire me, people that will help me, version of me, people I can learn from, instead of always feeling like I am the teacher, finding people that I can learn from as well. And I think it's slowly, I think I'm building a network of people. We'll see. I have faith. I think I'm building a network of people that way. and utilizing tools and learning how to use different tools more efficiently so I can better get the message out to folks through all the different means that I like. Yeah, I got to, like, one of the fun things is, since I'm not teaching gardening classes at the library this year, I get to try something different. So I'm teaching a Live Well, Live Smart series. And in the Live Well, Live Smart series, we get to talk about the passion I have is using the tech of this world to make life easier and more enjoyable, more luxurious. And so I taught gardening at the library for about 8 years. So now I'm still teaching gardening in other places, but I get to add something new to my repertoire. I'm very excited about it. It's cool. The first class was already absolutely great.
Visit Firefly's Ko-fi page at.
The first class will be available on the website. I'll stream it as well at some particular point. It's AI in everyday life. It's how to responsibly use AI tools and how not to let them use you. My class next month is Find Your Joy. So we'll talk a little bit about finding ways to ease your mind in troubled times. Things that I have spent a while practicing, and so I want to share the techniques that I've learned with more folks. And then after that, it's how to smartly use your smartphone. So I'm not going to be tools on how to utilize all of the tools that your smartphone has and how to use them appropriately and to get the most out of your smartphone as a tool and less as a distraction. So that is another class I'm very excited about. As an outdoor kid who loves computers, so being able to have a foot in both worlds is so fun. It's actually why I like streaming as well, especially when I'm streaming when I'm doing chores, stuff like that, is because it just has it's a nice combination feel behind it. It's like you guys are here with me, but I also get to like make sure I'm super knowledgeable about the tech. I should be using that wheelbarrow to do this, but I'm not. So excited. This should be just enough. Actually, I think I'm going to use the wheelbarrow for this last little bit. This should be just enough dirt to fill this up, which is what I was absolutely hoping. For. I was hoping I was going to have enough to be able to get this flower bed, because then as soon as I finish, I'll be able to put some topsoil on this, put another row of topsoil, some dirt on it, a row of wood, and it will be ready for planting. So I think tonight, those that are into the gaming, tonight we will be playing probably some more Ranch Simulator. We're starting day 37. So I get to show my sister the bees that we caught. And we're gonna probably finish, the one barn, move the guys over to there. What's cool about the bees in the game is catching the bees got me really excited about getting bees again. And I am probably about a month away from having bees again. And I don't know, man. I think about it and that just excites me. There's something really exciting about having bees. I'm glad I got bees when I did. But man, I probably would have liked bees at a lot younger age as well. One of my favorite. My next tattoo will probably be of a beehive.
My dad and Hubs are going to build my bee houses. I'm so excited.
Have a galactic butterfly. It's the beginning of everything. It's my religious symbol. I have a chicken because I am the master of cocks. My blood type, A positive. And then I have another symbol I'd like on my arm. And I want a beehive. I'm probably going to get a duck at some point too. But I don't know. I haven't figured out when it comes to the duck, I haven't figured out what I want that to look like just yet. So it's not the appropriate time for a duck, but the beehive is getting close. Probably one more good wheelbarrow in here. I think I have enough in there to do that. What I might just end up doing instead is that we have me and Lisa have a we have a tattoo machine, tattoo gun, whatever you'd like to call it. So what I think I'll do is I will get a good picture written up, and then I will have Lisa do it. Because then it'll have extra fun to it. Or if Lisa doesn't feel like doing it, if there's somebody else that is good at drawing that would like to give it a shot. Before I had dreads, I used to let everybody cut my hair, from little kids to anybody that ever wanted to practice. Because I know people, it was a fun thing. Because I'll tell you, letting kids, when you would let a kid, somewhere between the ages of 7 and 11, maybe even a little older, let them cut your hair, they would get so excited. Because, it's something that, it sounded crazy because, they weren't allowed to cut their own hair. And in most cases, The kids did their very best that they could. So now that I have dreads, it's not as easy to do anymore. My dreads,
you see gum on the street, leave it there. It's not free candy.
I totally understand. I didn't understand it. At first, I didn't quite understand what people meant. Thank you so much for the 200 gold pills. Absolutely appreciate it. Let's bring you guys a little closer. Classic chick. Oh, classic chick. If you could, I'll send you an email, but I'll send an email to you. I think I have your email someplace, but I'll send an email to you, and I want you to sign up. I want you to go to my calendar-y thing and sign up for one of the sessions so we can do either through Zoom or a phone conversation or Discord or whatever you want to use. So we can talk about the permaculture thing, because we kept talking about that and I need to do that, but I learned with my busy day, I need to have some, if I put something scheduled, if I get something scheduled on the schedule, then it makes it easier for me to do. Because then
just DM me and Pill.
I know that
I'll DM you so you can
set
find
up the schedule. I know that the time you picked is good for you, and I can, because it has my best times on there, I can make it work for me. So, yeah. I don't know if the link is in the bottom of Pilled in my description for my calendary, but we need to get that set up so that we can do that. Because a couple days ago we were talking about it, and it slipped my mind until right now. And the problem with ADD, I have really bad time blindness. If you guys don't know what time blindness is, it's when you can't, pretty much longer than 10 minutes, longer than 5 minutes, I have a really tough time. With. So, yeah, like 15 minutes and 4 hours, my brain can't really tell the difference. I know that sounds really silly to say. But that's just kind of how I figured out over time why I was not so good at certain things. It's because of learning about my time blindness. So, put you guys right here for just a second. A few more things that I need to clean up. I need to get the tools over here. Make sure everything that's good. But yes, look at that. Look at how great that looks, guys. I am super, super happy that
I have a whole family of ADHD, and I was diagnosed in menopause. All my kids and husband, we are all over the spectrum.
Set that up very well. I'll spin the camera so you can watch them on it. The last little bit of cleaning off the truck. We're cleaning off this. So yeah, look at that. Look how nice that bed looks already. You got the garlic right there, and you got this bed looking ready to go. So yeah, I can. But anyways, yeah. We need to get together on however we do that. So that we can talk about that. So we can get that set up. So we can talk about permaculture and get that well established. Like I said, my purpose is to help people in this world. And sometimes ADD jumps in and makes it so that I forget. You know, I need to do that. I'm going to do that in every description now from now on. I'm going to put my calendar-y link into that so that it's easy accessible for everyone. Or the other trick, if you guys want the secret way to get a hold of me and you want all of my contact information, I'll tell everyone because you actually have to remember this, but you go to mavisfarmacy.com. That's my website. And then you type in X37.
ADD is a superpower.
So
it just needs some help. Ha 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 ha.
Oh no, ADD. My ADD is absolutely a superpower. I can achieve such awesome stuff with it. It's just I have to be able to use it. I have to be able to use it in the right settings. And sometimes I don't have the right setting. Sometimes the right life isn't giving me the right setting. So I have a whole in one of the one of the chapters in my book I'm writing is actually talking about how ADD is an important part of society. It's always been for us. Those of us with ADD were an important part of tribal communities because we were the ones who were able to bounce around and do lots of stuff. While everybody was organizing and focusing on particular things, we were the ones innovating, we were the ones exploring, we were the ones doing and getting the stuff that the folks with like OCD and the folks that were just,
visit X-Star Firefly's Ko-fi page.
They were getting stuff well established, but they weren't going to be the ones. They weren't going to be the ones doing the stuff out there in the world. And so they needed us. The same way, the difference between morning people and night people.
Innovating.
The people that can live in both realms. Yeah, innovating. Yeah, that's and so we were an important part of society. We still are. We just our society is currently set up for an industrial mindset. And in an industrial world, people with ADD, we were at a disadvantage. But now farming, gardening, things like that, we actually thrive in those kind of worlds. That's why I like gardening and farming, because I'm able to thrive in this world because I can kind of do stuff at my own pace. I can spend as much time doing a project as I need to. If a project is in dire need, I can just drop one project and move to another. Like, I'm absolutely that flexible, where I know some other folks that aren't as flexible, it's really hard for them to jump from project to project. So, really cool things.
Annulsing processes, the Da Vinci types.
Yeah. So let's spin around and look at this beautiful, you can't see the beautiful sky if I have that in the way. Yeah, look at it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day. Just a few wispy clouds. The weather turned out to be kind of lovely. The Da Vinci types, yeah. Turned into just a beautiful, lovely, 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 lovely day. So, I'm happy, man. This was a goal. This was one of the goals that I wanted to accomplish today. The next goal I need to accomplish today is I have some seeds I need to start. So as soon as I finish streaming this and go in a bit, I think I'm gonna get those get the seeds started, so I don't forget that. Then I have to I'm a little behind on my Alleghany Front Almanac, so I'll need to get that update as well. If you have a favorite podcast site, if you look up Alleghany Front Almanac, you can listen to my weekly update of what's happening on the farm. I usually try to get out every Sunday. And I'm, you can see what day of the week it is. So I'm a little behind on getting that one out. I have it written, ready to go. I just don't have it recorded and edited. I'll get that done tonight or tomorrow night. Famous last words, right? Famous last words. Yeah. And then, why did we lose connection? Are we back? Okay, we're back. Lost connection there for a minute. Yeah, famous last words. But let's get this last little bit of stuff cleaned up. It's not going to be happy. You just stay right here, right there. So this rake and this shovel goes in here. That shovel stays up here. Oh, the broken hoe. The broken hoe goes in there as well. I need to figure out where I put the other piece of the broken hoe. This shovel stays up here because this is the garden shovel. One day next week, maybe, I can't say for sure, but one day next week we will probably be up here rototilling, because I think that's next on the list of stuff that I need to get done. I'm moving it over to my gimbal, guys, if you're wondering what's going on. There we go, great. Okay, put you guys down for here for just a second while I put everything else in my pocket. Get everything cleaned up so we can head back to the house. Actually, my dreads are even in a thing right now, but I'm so excited. I've had my dreads for about 10 years now. Pretty sure it's 10 years. And, I've had to trim them a few times, like just to fix some of the issues with them, but about the middle of my back, most of them. Some of them are even years. My oldest ones, it's about the middle of my back. Really cool. Silly things about myself. Gloves. Okay, I just got my water bottle and we can start heading back. We'll go the long way this time, guys. We'll walk back the long way. Spin the camera. There we go. I'm killing the grass there because I want to be able to put things there. Oh yeah. I need to, or can I take pictures at the same time? Don't know if I can. I'll have to walk. Maybe I'll just walk back up here later. I had lost a couple fruit trees, and I need to take some pictures of them for their, so I can get reimbursed for them because they have a 1 year survival window. Lost like 3. Such a lovely, lovely day today, guys.